What's going on, people? This is Akala. I'm here. MusicUmpire. Big up.
Okay, cool. So as you said, it's Akala and just catching up with him before the show tonight. Okay, cool. So how you finding Leicester so far?
Cool. I mean, I haven't seen much of Leicester this time.
Yeah.
Because I've only been at the venue all day, but I've been to Leicester a few times before.
That's good. So, little brother of Miss Dynamite.
Apparently so.
Yeah. How was it when you were growing up? Did you jam in the house together and make up little talent shows?
Yeah, quite a lot.
Yeah?
Yeah, quite a lot, especially on my mum's birthday. Stuff
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah, that was good. So, would you say that she's an inspiration to you?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, that's good. So, who else inspires you, like music-wise?
Marley, Garnet Silk, Wu-Tang, Public Enemy, Led Zeppelin, Jimi Hendrix, Miles Davis. I went to see Archie Shepp. I went to see Archie Shepp last week. I went to see Ornette Coleman, a legendary jazz musician, on Sunday. You know, just I love music.
Yeah, just got eclectic taste then.
I say musical taste. I think the word eclectic is a bit overused. It's like if you like anything other than the music you're supposed to like. You know, people say, "Oh, I'm eclectic. I listen to blah." Like I just think music's music.
Yeah.
And great music in any genre would be appreciable to someone with taste, even if it's not their thing.
Definitely. So in terms of like because you know how like some rappers or MCs have their way of processing their song or creating their track. Do you hate to say you have a specific process that you go through?
Yeah, no, I mean it depends on the track. Like sometimes I'll approach it more like I'm writing a poem, and I'll have like ideas and I'll do a diagram of what I want to say, and then I'll write a poem. But 99% of the time I don't write any of the words down. I just listen to the beat, get a feel for the beat, and figure out what I'm going to say, and the song happens. I don't know how, it just happens.
Yeah, that's good.
That's something I didn't invent it though. I mean, I heard when I was about 17, I heard Jay-Z say that he never wrote down any of his lyrics, and Biggie. And I thought that was complete bullshit. I thought that was impossible. And then I tried it, and it worked out. So I've not really written many of my lyrics down since.
Yeah, that's good. So you said Jay-Z. Do you say it's inspiration as well to you?
Well, I would say I was a big Jay-Z fan when I was a lot younger. I wouldn't say I'm as big a fan today.
Okay.
And I'll say there's certainly rappers that have been a bigger influence on me. People like Wu-Tang, Public Enemy, Dead Prez, Nas, Tupac, Slick Rick, Kojic Rap, Rakim, KRS-One, are all people that I would say probably been a bigger influence on me than most of the rappers.
This is where I go, this is what I see. Funky is now, double X, funky is now with the double X, no rhythm. We hit it, we split it without a division. Original vision, efficient, are you predictable?
Is it the new school stuff, old school stuff, is a mixture of both? Or?
Today I was listening to an album by a group called... Help me out, Lavi.
We had a Little Dragon on.
That's the one. Today I was listening to a band called Little Dragon. I've eaten too much chocolate, so the sugar's getting to my brain, I can't remember. But I was listening to a band called Little Dragon, which is a Swedish sort of electronica act. Really good album. That's today's music.
Okay.
Though before that we were playing a bit of Miles Davis.
Just
all
over the shop kind of thing.
Yeah. I wouldn't say there's too much new hip hop that I necessarily listen to. Some from the States. I mean, I like J. Cole, I like Ransom. Obviously Kendrick Lamar, Lupe, people like that. From here, I think there's a nice resurgence with people like Loki, Black the Ripper, Judge of Souls, Dirty Goods. There's some lyricists about. But I'd say most of the music I listen to probably isn't hip hop.
Yeah.
And I think that's reflected in the kind of music that I make or try to make.
So I have read that you don't really like to define your music. Is that because you see there's a danger in putting yourself in a box, or do you just because you blur over the
No, I would say I'm a hip hop artist, but I would say what I think of as hip hop is probably different to what a lot of people think of as hip hop. You know, when I'm talking about hip hop, I'm talking about from an MC perspective, you know, poetic, rhythmic, oral traditions that can be traced, you know, from what Africa Bambaataa and Cool DJ Herc and all those other guys were doing in the South Bronx in the 70s, back through blues, back through jazz, back through gospels, back to ultimately the griots of West Africa. And it's a continuous tradition. I understand my culture in that sense, but most people don't understand it in that sense because they haven't been delivered it in that way. They've learned the history of hip hop from MTV, not really understanding that before Africans left Africa, they already had a character called a griot who was essentially an oral poet, musician, singer, or in Yoruba land, for example, a spiritual guide who would be in charge of remembering by memory thousands of poems about loads of different things. Because most people are so unaware of the empires and the state of civilization in West Africa prior to Africans coming to Europe. It sort of skewed our entire interpretation of our own culture, even for most people of African Caribbean descent. Still in Jamaica, people will say with a straight face they're not African. And I look at them and I think, how can you not be African? Look at you. Do you know what I mean? Like, because they associate African with a Tarzan movie. But in reality, the empires of the Western Sudan that our ancestors came from to the Caribbean, if most people in the Caribbean and America were educated about that, they would be like, yo, I'm African. And they would tie their culture to Africa every minute, and they would see actually just, particularly in a place like Jamaica or Haiti, or Congo Square in New Orleans, which is where jazz was officially created. Those places are very Africanized places. The beliefs are still there, even in Jamaican patois. Why do you think Jamaicans sound like that? That's Africanized English. You know, like the tonalities of what they're saying. Some of the words like picnic is a Sierra Leonean word, unu is an Igbo word. You know, so you've got all these convergent cultures. So when I speak of sound system culture, when I speak of hip hop, it can take massive influence from, you know, it can be African Bambaataa sampling Kraftwerk, you know. I'm not saying there's no influences that are not from Africa or from the African diaspora, but I'm saying I understand hip hop in that vein, and I would say most people are taught to actively not understand and call hip hop American or call African American music American. African Americans weren't even human for most of the 20th century in America, but you want to claim their music. You want to put people in segregated environments where no one else that isn't of their cultural group lives, but then claim the culture that they produce. That seems a bit backwards to me, and we fall for it. Chinese people in America don't say Chinatown's American, do they? Chinatown's Chinese, right?
I mean,
Chinatown in London ain't English, it's Chinese. But people of African descent, because they don't understand their connection to their roots, the way their culture is defined is sometimes ahistorical. Sorry, that was a long waffle. But when I say I'm a hip hop artist, it means more than just. I mean, the word hip hop. The word hip hop. Hip comes from the Wolof verb hippie, which is a West African word. It means to open your eyes and see. So right there in the name hip hop tells you something about its origins. The fact that a word from West Africa is right there in the title. The fact that the founding father, in many ways, or at least the founding father of putting consciousness into hip hop, called himself Africa Bambaataa and the Zulu Nation. You know, but he doesn't own hip hop. So most people receiving hip hop now have no understanding of what that music was trying to do.
The core of it,
You know, what did KRS once say? He said, when you have an entire basis of music that is all based on African music, and you have what is called American Music Awards, you have what is called theft. That's what KRS One said. So people say they love hip hop, but then they won't listen to KRS One. Now I'm not saying I agree totally with what he said in that stance. What I'm saying is, this is the first person who people would hail as the greatest MC, saying to you, yo, I know what this culture is based on, but no one doesn't listen to him. MTV defines the culture the way they want to define it, the way it's profitable for them, not the way that the people who create this culture want to define it.
I know, that's deep.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff. So, because you mentioned some kind of deep stuff as well in your latest track, Find No Enemy, basically.
Yeah.
And like, so do you think that it's important for you to raise these issues in your tracks? Do you feel passionate about that?
Yeah, for me, yeah. I wouldn't tell no one else what to do or how to live their life, but for me, I've lived a particular way. I've come into contact with some information that I feel lucky to. I've also had some experiences that are completely stereotypical, do you know what I mean? Like, gone through some of the same old nonsense that young working class boys in single parent families go through. So I've had an interesting life. And I tried to reflect that in the